Hey guys, and welcome to what is one of my favourite games I've had on Total War Warhammer 3. I'm a Robert Ducker War, and today I shall be leading the mighty force of Nurgle up against Slaanesh. And I really appreciate all the recent support on the videos which I've been doing the last couple, which aren't my typical battle videos. I'm sure as you guys have noticed, the views have dropped considerably on most Total War channels recently, at least as far as the battles are concerned. So I'm trying one or two new things as well. I do really appreciate the support, but of course, I'm always eager to get back to these glorious blood-soaked carnage of the battlefield. And up against a really experienced player. I recognized his name and clan tag. I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head, but I knew I was in for a tough fight. This was a ranked matchmaking battle, and taking on Slaanesh as Nurgle against a decent player is really quite horrifying, so we'll have to see how we perform here today. We do have a Soul Grinder of Nurgle helping lead the battle charge alongside the Exalted Great Unclean One. I really do think the Exalted Great Unclean Ones are some of the best units in the Nurgle roster, particularly the Nurgle one because it's just so juicy and tanky. Now, of course, he does suffer from being incredibly slow, which is a big problem for him. He is a bit of a Mortis engine, which is quite nice. My spells of choice today shall be Fleshy Abundance, of course, for the healing. We have Stream of Corruption, mainly because it's so cheap, once again, to get that bonus healing. And we have Blight Swarm as well, which is a nice little hex which can chain amongst enemies. In the main battle line, we have Forsaken of Nurgle mixed in with a couple of the old hippity-hoppity toads. Plague toads are here to steal the hearts of the people, I'm sure. As for my opponent across the way, he is coming in with some rather nasty Hellstriders of Slaanesh. Now, I'm not going full cavalry like most Slaanesh players do. The double Hellstriders is certainly a problem. We have Inkari himself leading the battle charge, just sword in one hand, his other hand clenched into a fist of justice to bring to the fight against Nurgle. Coming in with a Purveying of Slaanesh, nice pin there, and slicing shards. Down on the low ground with a Soul Grinder Slaanesh, which is pretty nasty due to that bonus, I believe, versus large. Yeah, you can see the nice bonus versus large there. And a couple of spear units as well. And I don't mind this starting composition from the Slaanesh player. I think it's got a lot of teeth to deal with a lot of Nurgle builds. However, my opponent's been a rather sly dog here and using the terrain to his advantage. My Soul Grinder can really rip into these spearmen quite badly, so he's been moving back, rotating up and around behind the shot blocker so I couldn't get some good shots in. And when this started to happen, I knew I was up against a talented player who kind of knew a thing or two about the game, not kind of giving away resources early on, and instead can use the mobility of Slaanesh just to whip around into better positions where maybe he can jump my center. Because, of course, Nurgle, we're some pretty sad boyos at the start of most games because we can't really spread our forces. We get jumped too much by Slaanesh, and we have to stick together as a blob. But being the fact this is Domination, blobs don't work because your opponent will simply capture the other objectives. However, I'm still committing to the main fight at the moment, trying to whip some shots long range, going some big old long range Kobe's here, down onto the Hellstriders, and we actually catch a couple of K. I've got to give it to my boy there, the Soul Grinder. That was a pretty impressive shot. Elsewhere, I know I'm going to have to apply quite a lot of pressure to Objective 1, so I do move some of my own Forsaken, which I've summoned over to that side, as well as some hippity-hoppity Plague Toads, disengaging from the middle and considering pushing up towards Objective 1. Now, my opponent does summon a Cultist of Slaanesh, of course does have that summon. It can be brought into play. Soul Grinder's doing a decent job just poking at the moment down at the Spearman, up to an impressive 8 kills, but hey, he's done some HP damage, and that has to count for something there. Big exploding pusses of just pestilence being rained down upon them. You can raise your shield, but a shield is no match for the loving embrace of Papa Nurgle, and the Spearman taking considerable damage on the approach, which is something, of course, I'm quite keen on. As you can see in the distance, Inkari is going to be charging in. I do fall back a little bit of the Exalted, a hero of mine, to get the Plague Toads in before indeed turning and engaging. Now, the Exotic Great Unclean One is one of the few units in the game which can actually go toe-to-toe with a force like Inkari due to our resilience and tankiness. So we're going to be bounding in there, doing a cheeky little headbutt, and giving him a little smooch on the lips to let him know, hey, though we may be against each other today, we're still brothers under the glorious arms of the Nurgle Demon God. Soul Grinder is moving up. We also have more Forsaken being dispatched from the middle, so I'm trying to apply a lot of pressure to Objective 1. My opponent does come in with this Summon and Cultist of Slaanesh play down to intercept my reinforcements, which I like quite a bit, so I'm going to be falling back my Forsaken and trying other avenues to get towards that objective. In comes some Rotflies as well as Furies. I'm just bringing all my fast movers to the battlefield now, really trying to get an upper hand on the enemy infantry game. And you can see the Soul Grind up to 54 kills now, doing a good job. Likewise, the Exalted Great Unclean One has forced back Inkari, who's currently being jumped by a lot of units. The Rotflies surveying the battle from the safety of the skies. Now, we're starting to capture Objective 1. Forsaken doing a good job. I actually think that Forsaken are pretty much a must-have in this matchup, because they do okay against enemy cavalry. Likewise, the basic Slaanesh infantry. So objective 1 is slowly turning our favor. I think, unfortunately, our Forsaken did get broken. We were trying to retreat, and now the cultist Slaanesh will be able to chase them off the battlefield. Got Furies being dispatched to go over to the left-hand side to try to help contain objective 1 where possible. We're so close to capturing the middle. It does seem like we're starting to lose it once more. Now, all of our Plague Toads are pretty much done. We still have the 2 big heavy hitters here, the Exotic Grey and Clean one, as well as the Soul Grinder. Rottweilers continue to survive in the air, you know. They're not about the violence. They're here for the show. And I don't really know where to land them anywhere at the moment, so they're currently just chilling out. Exotic Grey and Clean one, as well as Soul Grinder doing a decent job here, just being a big pain in the butt and tanking all the enemy damage. Lovely attack animations from the Soul Grinder as like a sonic blast comes through. It'll be no match for the my own Soul Grinder combined with the Exalted Great Unclean one. However, Objective 3 is being claimed by my opponent. I do remove some Forsaken over there initially, and then I decide to fall back. I'm actually going to be doing a big press to Objective 1 as I realise I'm probably not actually going to win this fight over here. The Forsaken up to 68 kills, done a fantastic job really ripping and tearing into the enemy cavalry and ground forces. We're simply being overwhelmed by numbers, and the middle objective is also being lost by us, so those Forsaken having to now come down into the middle. Exotic Grey and Claim 1 getting a little bit low, so he wiggles around his mighty bell there. And he's going to be getting a fleshy abundance on him. That's going to top him up rather nicely. Rottweilers have dived down into combat as well, but honestly not the best fight for them, taking on a lot of enemy spear units, and there's also more Furies coming in to help deal with us. It does look like we have a bit of a Soul Grinder off, the Nurgle versus Slaanesh Soul Grinder, the Battle of the Ages. And it should be a good fun fight. A big slash across the belly of our boyo, but we are a tanky beast indeed. I must admit, I do prefer the look of the Slaanesh mighty Soul Grinder. In fact, I think all the Soul Grinders look pretty cool. The Slaanesh one is certainly up there as one of the best. Rottweilers getting nice around in the back, just hunting down at the beastie, and in comes the Exotic Grey and Clean one as well, looking to just try to overwhelm the Soul Grinder and drag it off the battlefield. Now, where is Inkari? Looks like he's hunting down reinforcements. Not a bad idea whatsoever. I was making a desperate push for Objective 3, and we're actually about to be triple capped, which is really disastrous, as Objective 1 does start to move in my opponent's favor. We've got more Forsaken moving out to that flank. Now, at this point, damage value-wise, we were super even, but Slaanesh just have such a more of a dominance of the map than Nurgle. It's really, really a tough matchup. Our Soul Grinder in a slow motion fashion comes in perhaps with the killing blow. No, it looks like the enemy Soul Grinder is alive for now, but a big uppercut from the bell from the Great Unclean one. It should be enough here, you would think, to drag down the enemy Soul Grinder, who's down to a rather pitiful 33 HP, and back from whence he came, back to the shadows, Gandalf, the Great Unclean one, screams. Now, the middle objective is starting to be taken by me, luckily. We have some hippity-hoppities moving in here. My Soul Grinder is hunting down Inkari and forcing him away from the battle. And we have the Exalted Grey and Clean one, of course, who can move in. A nasty slice and shards is about to come down. I do spot this and attempt to move out of position using my Plague Toads and Forsaken, just spreading them into different directions to hopefully avoid the worst of this blast, and coming with a stream of corruption of my own to deal with the enemy infantry. We also have more Forsaken pouring in, and Objective 2 starting to look a little bit tasty for me. And once again, despite the fact I'm below about 1,700 tickets at the moment, we were trading really cost-effectively damage value-wise. And if you're trading cost-effectively damage-wise as Nurgle, you're certainly doing something right. Inkari versus the Exalted Great Unclean one once again going down. We're going to be waving in the air like we just don't care, getting a fleshy abundance on us, meaning we don't care at all about the damage. We're simply going to heal a lot of it back, and we were quite close to full health anyway, but I thought my opponent was coming in for a big kind of never-ending fight. Blight Swarm does go down, and that's going to be slowly infecting all these units. We've got such a dominant control of it now, with all the Forsaken being moved into the middle. I'm doing a big push here for objective number 3. We have Plague Toads as well as a couple of cute little Nurglings being brought in. Some Forsaken did get a rather aggressive push early on. My opponent does ride out to meet them though, and then comes with a load of Furies, cavalry, just swarming all over to try to neuter the effectiveness of the Forsaken. But honestly, the Forsaken, despite being 3-1 here, probably going to get some pretty decent damage value. You can see they're tearing into the Hellstriders, doing some nice work. We now have more Nurglings coming in, and Double Toads are going to whip around the other way, around this little shot blocker, and hop onto objective 3 whilst the Nurglings hold it down here and try and pin in the enemy cavalry, which is a good position for me. Lovely slice and shards by my opponent. Oh my god, the damage! As you see, many Plague Toads lay lifeless and dead, as well as Forsaken here. Coldest Slaanesh does get beat down by the Exotic Grey and Clean one. Once again, we are starting to lose the middle, though, as more cavalry move into the middle and some Demonettes of Slaanesh. Luckily for me, not Exalted Demonettes. They could be quite problematic. Now, my poor Soul Grinder has found himself in a confrontation he does not want. His big Mars was a bit slow and bobbling away in the distance and dawdling a little bit, and this allowed my Soul Grinder to get picked off by Inkari. Evil play by my opponent. Looks like he's going to be coming in with a debuff as well, rampaging me to ensure I cannot escape. and the Exalted Great Unclean One taking a rather long time to get into the fight here and beat back Inkari. I was considering healing up the big boy, but thought, you know what, he's kind of probably dead anyway, so I don't want to waste the Winds of Magic, and instead we're going to have to fight him at man-to-man there. Little objectives getting real messy. Forsaken are taking on Marauders and Hellstriders, which again is cost-effective for me, but cost-effectiveness doesn't necessarily matter if your opponent claims all the objectives. Big fight going down in the middle. Do we summon more Nurglings and Forsaken to help push and hopefully hold objective 2, because I've only just got off being triple capped. We do claim objective number 3. Loads of Toads, load of Nurglings. It's pretty simple. Even if we are going to be struggling a little bit against the enemy cavalry, we've just swarmed this objective with bodies looking to hold it. My opponent is summoning Hellstriders to try to intercept. I think that is a misplay. He should probably be trying to hold these 2 objectives, as he does have a significant lead rather than spreading his lines too thin. But hey, if it can ensure that I have to spread my lines thing as Nurgle, he's probably onto something. So Forsaken and Nurglings move in. I'm just about to lose this objective, so I'm hoping the Nurglings can turn the tide. It looks like they can just about, though more Marauders are pushing in. Streams of Corruption go down on the Marauders of Slaanesh, just trying to wipe out the enemy infantry and really force them off the battlefield where possible. You can see the Forsaken taking some decent damage there. And once again, Inkari is forced back by the might of the Exalted Great Unclean One. Really a wrecking ball to behold. Looks like my opponent is going to pull back a few of his forces there, trying to save them from the death of the plague. The middle objective is going back and forth, though. I do summon some spawn of Nurgle. I do realize I probably need to do a triple cap here. So I'm going to be doing an aggressive push towards objective 1. But it is desperate times. I've had to commit so many reinforcements to objective 3. We're doing fantastic here, though. We're holding well. I'm pretty confident that objective, unless my opponent really overinvests in resources going that way, is going to be fine. And the middle, it's shaky. It really is shaky. We've got more Demonettes coming in. We have Marauders as well. I've got 1 unit of infantry really on the objective and a tiny bit of Nurglings. The Exotic Great Unclean One did a fantastic job. Likewise, my opponent's Micro Inkari has been freaking scary. Never getting bogged down whatsoever. Constantly bobbing and weaving and coming in to fight the Exotic Great Unclean One where he possibly can. Big fat stream of corruption goes down on the enemy Marauders. Maybe enough there to break them and then allow the Forsaken to freely fight the Demonettes alongside the Exalted Great Unclean One. So middle fight, very hotly contested at the moment. My push for objective 1 is going good. We've got Spawn of Nurgle here. They've now been added to their ranks with the Plague Toads and some beat up Forsaken. Hey, beat up Forsaken, I'll take them. I'll take whatever scraps I have of the army barrel today. It's only 1 unit Marauders here, so I'm pretty confident I can overwhelm here. I have some more Forsaken though to help hold the middle, as once again we are starting to lose, and it's such a hotly contested fight there in the mid. There is just fights going on every single objective. This was a micro dream. It was so fun. We have Nurglings and Plague Toads dragging down the Hellstriders. You see Chaos Furies are being destroyed in the air, and at this point I was thinking, can I actually do this? At the start of the game, I was like, goddamn, Slaanesh and their mobility, abusing my beautiful Nurgle. At the start of the game, my Exotic Great Unclean One was very unhappy. He was, like, crying to himself, like, why won't the enemy come play with me? Why are they just using their speed and capturing these side objectives? It's not fair. I don't like this. But as the battle's gone on, we've managed to rack up more and more juicy value. You can see a cheap bump and grind there. Exotic Great Unclean One giving Inkari a little spank on the back there with his bell as he does depart. But it is a fight just consistently across the whole battlefield. Objective 2 is starting to fall, despite the fact we have more Forsaken being poured in. I have more Forsaken Nurglings as well being summoned. And Objective 1 is about to be mine. My opponent did manage to get some reinforcements over here in the form of the Chaos Furies. He has double infantry as well. I slowed them down with my faction passive, though, my faction abilities. So they weren't able to get here in time. And now we have the triple cap. The dreaded late game Nurgle triple cap is upon us. The central objective is starting to fall once again, however, as more Marauders of Slaanesh do pour into the middle. Exotic Great Unclean One, though, is doing a decent job on Inkari. Honestly, quite powerful indeed. So far up to 6,000 gold value and 260 kills. He has reached his healing cap, though, which is a little bit scary. I do have Nurglings as well as Plague Toads desperately charging in as fast as their little stubby legs will take them to try to get into this middle objective, as we are so close to losing it. But in they come. That should be enough to help secure the middle once more. Objective 1's going to be a hotly contested fight. Triple Marauders are pushing in, as well as one of them being a spear. I've only really got large targets, so I'm fleeing to the corners a little bit of this objective and hopefully buying some time for Forsaken to come over, which is real, like, micro-intensive plan. Like, I drag these guys over, bring them in, stall my enemy as much as possible. Okay, spawn, your time is now to charge in. My opponent does a really good play here as well. and tries to stop my Forsaken from actually getting on the objective. So you're going to see he like just kind of blocks me where possible and then charges out. I was like, oh no you don't, I see your sneaky schemes. So I wrap this part of the Forsaken flank around, so now I'm actually surrounding them and also contesting the objective. It was a really nice play by my opponent, but we've seen that trick before. Rotflies have been summoned. They can now come over here and help secure this area. We are starting to lose objective 1. The other 2 objectives are secure, though. The middle, looking comfortable. The Exotic Grand Clean One beating his chest and saying, not today, Nkari. I am the captain now of this objective. And objective 3 has been secure for us by a long time. I haven't had to send any more reinforcements over there. They'll Nurgle, they'll Plague Toads. That's a lot of HP to really drag through there. And all of a sudden, we have taken the lead for the first time in the game at 4,000 tickets. And it's a close battle indeed still. But with the Troll Cap, I'm starting to feel a lot more confident. And I think my Exotic Grand Clean One, he's pushed off those early game blues. And he loves a good comeback as he just pounds the Slaanesh More Orders into the dirt. They like it. They are going to die for it, unfortunately. Objective 1 is now being lost, though. My opponent is quite clever and simply rotates Nkari round to help claim this objective. Forsaken are doing a decent job, though. We have Rotflies trying to drag down the dreaded Prince of Madness himself. Spawn Nurgle will be falling here, though, and it is looking like we will, unfortunately, lose objective 1. But we have such a dominant ticket lead now, I hope it won't matter. So the Forsaken, yeah, decent job against the Marauders, but it look like they will be dragged down by sheer weight of number. Nkari probably going to survive the Rotfly pressure. There's quite a lot on there, but objective 1 does fall into the hands of my enemy. Middle objective is well and truly secure, though. Look at this. Just the Exalted Grand Clean One driving out, scaring and scattering the enemy forces to the winds. Do summon double Forsaken as well, just to apply a little bit more protection to this middle objective. And I do claim victory. That was a roller coaster of a game to relive and cast, and playing it, it was so fun. I've been playing quite a lot of land battles recently just to mix stuff up, get some decent land battle replays as well, so I can get a bit of both on the channel. And then I hopped back into some ranked yesterday, and oh yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I must admit, the Exalted Grand Clean One, he was an unhappy boy at the start, being bullied by Nkari. His troops were dying around him, but by the end, 321 kills, 7,088 gold value is disgusting. Just holding the line in the name of Papa Nurgle and doing a fantastic job draining the enemy infantry, dueling and stalling Nkari, the soul grinder. He did it all, and I've never been so proud. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a great one to cast. I really did enjoy that game quite a bit. And I'll delve into the kills, damage dealt, and gold value in a memento. But if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. All those free things massively help out the channel, and I appreciate them greatly. Also, if anyone knows how to go back a patch, I have an amazing tournament game against Void. It's a corn-on-corn mirror match. It's super cool, like high-end stuff, and it's broken since the patch. So if anyone knows how to go back a patch, please let me know, and I'll happily go back a patch and kind of wait through the downloads and so forth, so I can cast that game for you guys, because it's so cool. So just let me know in the comments if you know anything about that. Links down below to Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. Discord is where you submit replays to get cast on the channel, get involved in tournaments, live streams, and all that good stuff. We'll have some more tournaments coming up early on next week. Probably a Domination tournament, because I haven't hosted one of those in a while. The way back to the battle, well played to my opponent once again, very talented dude. And alas, he was no match for the Exalted Great Unclean One. 1.6k value on the Soul Grind of 72 kills. Forsaken over 100 kills and just shy of 1,000 value. Possibly summoned multiple times though. 660 and 600 gold value. This unit of Plague Toads was clearly traitors, going for the old 69 action with Slaanesh there. Plague Drones, I do not believe were summoned, unfortunately. The Spawn, you know, they apply a lot of pressure. They're unbreakable. They're a pain in the butt. 79 kills, not much value though, only 500. And the Rotflies, 400 value on them. Kind of misused by me most of the game, if I'm being perfectly honest. Forsaken, 152, 74, 112, and 168 kills. 579, 584, 630, and 970 gold value. Isn't insane, but we were able to drag down the enemy infantry, and that's what mattered. Plague Toads, 600 and 300 value. The Furies, 760, and the Nurglings just there to be objective holders. Nkari did good. Nkari stayed alive the entire battle, rotated around, dodged the Exotic Grand Clean One where possible, and got 3,745 gold value and 123 kills. A very good day's work, unfortunately overshadowed though by the Exalted Great Unclean One himself. 2.6 kill on the Soul Grind is also impressive, considering it was annihilated relatively early on, and the Cavalry fared dreadfully. The Marauders a bit better, 990 value, 440, but the Cav in the low hundreds there. And the reinforcement cav a little bit better, 985 value on them. Furies are okay, but they can't cap objectives, so I'm a little bit wary of bringing so many. 980 gold value on this unit is pretty impressive work. The coldest was also a pain in my butt, simply due to the summons, and that allowed my opponent to get the triple cap early. Did pay for it dearly, though, by having to hug my Exalted Great and Clean One in the mid-stages of the battle. 400 value for her. Demonettes, 488 and 709 value. I haven't seen their value against Nurgle too much. You'd think they'd be great because they're huge damage dealers, but they can struggle to grind through the enemy. And it looks like that may be it. 1.1k on this unit, Marauders, is pretty impressive stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, peace. And as always, stay War.